Hello and welcome to the Talking Cards podcast with Grand Salami and the Juice. I am your host, the Juice. I am here solo today. Grand Salami will be back with us next week. This is the podcast where you can find all things sports cards, baseball cards, especially. We give you the latest product news, release notes, information, all the hobby news you can find right here. And before we get started, I do want to shout out Card Purchaser. Make sure to follow him on Twitter, X, if you aren't already at Card Purchaser. He always has the latest info on product drops and releases. But if you really want to get that up-to-date real-time info, the best thing you can do is join his Discord, where you can be alerted to product drops for not just Topps.com, but for all the major retailers as well. What I'm going to talk to you today is we are just about finished with June. We're over halfway done with the year. We're at pretty much the halfway point in the MLB season. So I want to talk about the year so far, some of the big news, and then I'm going to go rapidly through each team, talk about the most hobby relevant player, and just some notes about where they're at in the season, if they're up, if they're down, just some good information to know that could be really relevant if you are someone that, looks to go into breaks for people maybe outside of your PC team a bit, and you want to know about what you're looking at, who you should be looking for. The first big piece of hobby news that dropped this year was the Montgomery Club cancellation. So that has been, in my opinion, a pretty big blow to the hobby so far. People that had Montgomery Club really loved Montgomery Club. I was one of them. Such a good deal to be able to get access to those product drops without having to worry about trying to get through that Topps queue and everything. It really, really helped people like us in the hobby, people that were serious about their collections and really wanted some of that higher end product to break. It's not like we were buying cases at a time either. This was one box of Sapphire that they usually put a limit on. Sometimes you get to Brooklyn collection we haven't seen from 2025. That used to be a Montgomery Club exclusive, and there's been no word about it for 2025. As far as I know, it's gone. And I don't like where it's headed. I mentioned before, I think that in place of Montgomery Club, what they're doing is they've announced a new Fanatics credit card. I think that they want people to be taking that credit card, and that's what's going to give them exclusive access to product drops early. I'm not a fan of that. I don't think people should have to take out a credit card in order to be able to have access to these drops like we were able to in the past. I get from a business perspective why Fanatics did it. Overall, I just don't agree with it and I don't like it. The next big piece, the next big thing that happened this year was Topps has finally been able to start using their NBA and NFL licenses. And this has been a huge, huge success for them. And some ways for the hobby, some ways not. Obviously, Panini had the license before. I like Topps better than Panini. It's no secret. I like their designs better, but you're still losing a lot of things that Panini did well. The Panini product inserts. We're not going to see any licensed kabooms of these big basketball and football stars anymore. We're going to be losing a lot of the things that we really love. We're not going to see any national treasures. We're not going to see Color Blast. So we are losing a lot on this side. But as far as what Topps has done with it, overall, it's been great. NBA and NFL Chrome been wildly popular. Prices have been crazy. Single prices have been crazy. And it's because they did a really good job with the product. People are looking more forward to Topps Chrome Baseball this year because they're hoping that they'll be able to follow in the footsteps of NBA and NFL as far as the success with that. So yeah, just something that has been going on this year. Outside of Topps Chrome, other things have been a success, other things not so much as far as those licenses go. Signature Football comes to mind. Wasn't really a great product, but I'm really excited to see what they do for things like Stadium Club for these. I would love to see Stadium Club, NBA, and NFL. That, as you know, I love Stadium Club. Hopefully they fix the Chrome issue and we start seeing Chrome again. But overall, I'm very happy with Topps, and I think the hobby has been happy with what Topps has been doing with these licenses. People are getting a bit of sticker shock on the prices, but they're pretty much in line with Panini. So I'm really not going to complain about the prices because yes, they are higher than baseball, but you see that for NBA and the NFL. So I'm really not going to talk too much about that because I think it's in line or lower than Panini in a lot of ways. But we'll continue to see as Topps holds these licenses, see if they try to squeeze us for more money. Another thing that came out, this is more recent news, is Topps Chrome Baseball is down on the jumbo down to 3 autographs to 2 autographs. But the checklist is also the auto checklist. The base auto checklist is down. I think it was over 130 last year. Now it's down below 100. So that kind of helps a bit, especially for hobby boxes. But just something to think about. Jumbo about 5 years ago was five autos, and then it was three, and now it's just two. So they can't make it lower, otherwise it's just a hobby. But yeah, so that hurts a bit, definitely, because it's already so hard to find decent autos in Tops Chrome, even in Jumbos when you were getting the three autos, even when you're getting the five autos. Shrinking the auto checklist down does help, but until we actually get the product and see odds, it's going to be hard to see how much that is going to help. The last piece of news that I want to talk about before we get into our team by team breakdown is the PSA grading pause for value subs. So that was huge. Everyone was talking about that. Everyone is still talking about that. It's hard to see how it's going to affect the hobby just yet. I haven't really seen any big movements, but honestly, we have not seen any movement yet because any product that has been affected by the sub, we wouldn't have seen back from PSA yet anyway at those value sub prices and return time. It will be really interesting to see, like 4 or 5 months from now, when we do our end of year recap. I'm sure we're going to be talking about this a lot, but how it's going to affect things like graded Tops Chrome, graded Tier 1, graded Inception, just all the products that are coming out during this pause. It's going to be really interesting to see how it affects the value for graded cards and graded hits from those. They're going to be more scarce for sure, which is going to bring the value up of them. So it might end up being worth it for a card that you might not have wanted to do for regular sub pricing, which, as you know, is $80. It might end up being a little more worth it because it's just going to be so scarce to see those cards graded. That's about it for the big pieces of hobby news this year. It's been a pretty slow news year. We've had some issues also with Tops not including things that they should. There was the big thing with the Tops X Fractor for NBA Chrome, the blue X Fractor debacle, but everyone seems to be getting their replacements. The Top seems to have been doing right by them. And then there's also the issue of, I alluded to it before, but Stadium Club Chrome not getting any of those Chrome base cards out of hobby or blasters or anything, just having the Chrome autos, which are very rare. So that's been a big hit for Stadium Club this year. A lot of people are much more out on Stadium Club than they were in the past. So yeah, it's been overall not a crazy New Year's for not a crazy news year for Tops. All right, what I am talking about next is I'm going to give a player from each team, sometimes more than one. I'm going to start trying to stay pretty positive here. I don't really want to slam on players too much, but I want to give you a player with hopefully a positive outlook, or maybe I can put a positive spin on someone who has been underperforming. We're going to do these in alphabetical order, so not by divisions or league. And let's start with the Arizona Diamondbacks. The player that stands out for me hobby-wise is still Corbin Carroll. Ever since his rookie season, he has probably been the guy for the Diamondbacks. Jordan Lawler, I wish was the guy because I got so much of his stuff. But Corbin Carroll, definitely underappreciated. He is having his best season so far. He leads the league in triples, and his OPS is just over 900. So he is, I don't know how quietly he's doing it, pretty quietly just because he's on the Diamondbacks, but he's having a really solid season, and I think he is being overlooked definitely more than he should be in the hobby. He's not in the same conversation as a lot of those top 10 guys, but he's putting out numbers that can certainly put himself in that conversation. Next up, we have the Atlanta Braves, and who I want to talk about is Drake Baldwin. His OPS is up. It's over 800 for a catcher, which is fantastic. He had an excellent follow-up to winning the Rookie of the Year last year. We have not seen any sort of sophomore slump. A lot of good things that we're seeing from Drake Baldwin, and I think he continues to put up these numbers. It's hard to sleep on the guy because he did win Rookie of the Year last year, but he's just going to have this solid place. I don't think he's going to do anything crazy. He's not going to do anything Cal Raleigh like, but overall, he's a really solid guy to have in the hobby right now. Next up for the Orioles, I want to talk about Adley Rutschman. So he has been having a pretty solid bounce back year. I definitely still want to see more. He could be a buy low candidate. It is tough for a catcher, outside of just a few big guys over the past few years. And I know I was just talking about Drake Baldwin, But hobby wise, there's not a lot of love for catchers. Adley Rutschman, though, he's someone that the hobby has always liked, and he's definitely fallen off last year, but he's really bounced it back well this season. And I think he continues to get back to where we're used to seeing them, hopefully even above that. All right. Next up, we have the Boston Red Sox. Not a lot to talk about with them. They're having a disappointing season all around. But there is Marcelo Mayer, who we are finally seeing this year. He has been disappointing so far, but he is someone that I think that he is someone that I am still kind of hopeful on. He is over 200 at bats for the season, so we are starting to see who he is. But over his last 15 games, he's had close to 700 OPS. He's at 600 for the season. Is he starting to turn it around? I don't know. 700 OPS, obviously nothing that the hobby is going to go crazy for. But if he just continues to improve little by little and become the player that we all thought he was going to be, someone that you might be able to buy low on. Next up, we have the Chicago White Sox. And who else is there to talk about but Munetaka Murakami? He was someone that a lot of people slept on before the season started. Pretty much everyone, all the teams slept on him because he got to the White Sox for way less than anyone was anticipating. But then he came on, he hit 20 home runs, and the hobby loves him. His rookie cards are the rookie card to get right now. And even though he's injured, the hobby still loves him. The thing about being injured is, as a rookie, it's not like he's slumping. It's not like he hit 20 home runs and then he's done nothing since. So everyone is just pretty much waiting for him to return and expecting him to do the same great things that he's been doing. I expect him to continue to be awesome. Maybe the league catches up with him a bit, but I've been high on Murakami from the start. I'm not buying at his prices right now. I think they're crazy. A lot of people are saying he's going to be more Adam Dunn than Aaron Judge, and I can't disagree with that. But he's just been a really exciting, fun player to watch. So let's just continue to watch him and hope for the best. Next up for the Chicago Cubs, let's talk about PCA Pete Crow Armstrong. He had a bit of a slow start, but he is really heated up. He has an 886 OPS, and he has a realistic shot at going 30-30 for the year. A lot of people, his personality rubs him the wrong way, but in the hobby, most people don't really care about that. And after last year, when his cards shot up and then they kind of leveled back down a bit, it's going to be hard to wait and see on him. If you want PCA, you're not in on him yet, I would say just get in on him now, because I think that he's just going to be perennially one of those guys that's going to be really good and really hot in the hobby. For the Reds, we have Chase Burns, and he has had such a bounce back from his poor debut last year. So that goes to show you that pitchers sometimes you just need a little bit of time to figure it out. He is now sitting at 9-1 with a 2.00 ERA. Fantastic start. That poor debut is in the rearview mirror. He has been lighting it up this year, and he should hopefully continue. Pitchers are on a new level from where they've been ever since Paul Skeens. We talked about it before, but ever since Paul Skeens came on the scene, it seems like everyone is all about pitchers, trying to find another guy to pair with Paul Skeens to make him that guy. Maybe it's Chase Burns. There's going to be another guy on this list, though, that I think is more likely to do that. For the Cleveland Guardians, we've got Travis Bazzana, and he's had a strong start. He got called up midseason. He's got an 802 OPS, and it's looking like what he's doing. He has some 30-30 potential for future seasons. He's young. We can't complain about his start so far. He did not start off slow. He just came in like he's been doing this. He looks like a professional ball player, and I'm excited to see where this takes him. I've got some nice cards of him I am holding, and I'm excited to see where he goes. The only time I can see selling him is maybe Guardians one day do something crazy in the postseason and he does something with them. I'm always about that postseason hype and postseason selling. I think that is the time to sell usually outside of player debuts. All right, next up, we have the Colorado Rockies. Their most hobby relevant player right now to me is a guy that technically doesn't have a Rockies card. TJ Rumfield. You found him in 2026 Bowman as a Yankee, but he has been awesome for the Rockies. He has an 842 OPS right now. He's on pace for 25 home runs, 89 RBIs as a rookie. And for the Rockies, with not a lot of things to get excited for, this is someone that you can certainly be looking forward to in future products once you start getting those Rocky cards for him. For the Detroit Tigers, it can't be anyone else besides Kevin McGonigal. Outside of Munetaka Murakami, he has been the rookie. He hasn't shown a ton of power, but he does have an OPS over 800, and he seems to just be doing everything right. He seems to always be hitting. A lot of people are right on him big. I think he's going to be very solid. Without the power, though, I think he'll fall off in the hobby. So if you find a good time to sell, I would probably sell, to be honest. I'm not that high on him just because without that power, the upside just is not that great. For the Houston Astros, Yordan Alvarez, he is really putting it together this year. Every year, everyone always talks about him being the guy, and he gets slept on. I feel like he's always being slept on, but right now, he's leading the league in runs, hits, home runs, on base percentage, OPS. He is doing everything. So this is a guy that if you're an Astros fan, you're an Astros collector, you can really be excited about. Let's see how he continues to do things. MVP candidate. This might be the time where you finally start realizing the potential of any cards that you've been holding. For the Kansas City Royals, you know I love them. I talk about them all the time. Jack Caglione, Jack Cags. Slow start, but really putting it together now. He has an OPS over 800. The past few weeks, it seems like he's hitting a home run every other game. He's been on a hot streak. He's been tearing it up. If you want to buy, you better start doing it soon because I don't know if he's going to stop. I don't know if he's going to slow down. We saw that potential when he was in the minors last year, right before he got called up and everyone was all crazy about him. Obviously, the hobby has cooled off on him, but now with him doing everything that we've been expecting, just watch out. For the Angels, not much to be excited about, but there is always one guy to talk about, and that is Mike Trout. He is on pace still to have his best season in years. He's on a small IL stint. He's still not the Mike Trout of old, but he is still fun to watch. He can still put the ball in the seats anytime, and he's always going to have a special place in the hobby. You know, he was the guy that carried the hobby before Ohtani. He was the Ohtani guy before Ohtani. Which brings us to the Dodgers and, of course, Shohei Ohtani. He is going to win MVP again. There's not much more to say about him that hasn't already been said. His batting's down a little bit. That's what a lot of people are talking about. But his OPS is 963. So 963 for a down year, not half bad. The big thing, of course, is that his pitching is back and he has been dominant. 1.58 ERA. He has been killing it. He will win another MVP this year unless something really unfortunate happens, but he's just going to walk his way to that. Miami Marlins, not much going on with them. Yeah, they're just not a very exciting team. I guess Otto Lopez is the one guy that really stood out to me. He is leading the league in hits and batting average, but that's all. That's really it. That's really all I could find on the Miami Marlins. And yeah, there's really not much to talk about there. All right, we are getting to the Milwaukee Brewers. And there is Jacob Mizorowski, the Miz. He's been incredible and dominant. The hobby's been looking for a pitcher to pair with Paul Skeens, and it seems like Miz is really trying to find his place there, and he's been killing it. 1.45 ERA, 138 strikeouts. And then you see those charts. I see them on Twitter. You probably see them on Instagram, everywhere, of the top 100 fastest pitches thrown by a starter this season or something like that. And it's just Miz, just all over the place. He's been incredible. He's been so much fun to watch unless you're batting against him. Another team that doesn't have much, the Minnesota Twins. Byron Buxton, I guess. He's leading the league with 25 home runs. Nothing really exciting there. Yeah, there's really just not much there for the Twins. We're just hoping, I guess, some of their prospects start to come up and pan out soon. The New York Mets, just a disappointing season. McLean started off hot, but he's been disappointing. So not much to talk about with him. AJ Ewing and Carson Bench, though, they are starting to put together some really solid rookie seasons. So for Mets fans, those are the guys that you're looking at right now from a hobby perspective. AJ Ewing and Carson Bench, those are the guys that you should be in on. We're still waiting on AJ Ewing. We're probably going to wait till next year to see his rookie cards. Bench, which is short print, and Topps Chrome, he's not going to have rookies. So yeah, it's going to be a little slow for Mets fans for a while. But on the other side of town, we've got the Yankees. They've had Ben Rice and Cam Schlittler, and things have been going fantastic for them. They have both been excellent, and they continue to dominate. Schlittler leads the league, the American League, with a 1.71 ERA. But Ben Rice has been the biggest surprise, not just for the Yankees, but I think across baseball this season. Last year, a lot of people were excited about him. He definitely showed potential, but nobody expected this. He is an MVP candidate, small IL stint, but he's back and he's continuing to hit some home runs. Without Aaron Judge, let's just see how these two continue to go about their thing. They're both young, but yeah, if you're a Yankees fan, those are two guys to definitely be excited for. Next up, we've got the Oakland Athletics. Well, next up, we have the Athletics, I should just say. And who else but Nick Kurtz? He's leading the league in RBIs and walks. That is hard to do. When you're getting a walk, you're not driving in a run. And he's leading the league in that. He's leading the league in opportunities not to drive in runs, but he's still doing it. He's still leading the league in RBIs. So 0 sophomore slump. He really heated up. His start was okay, but he has been just going off lately. And I do also actually want to give a shout out for the Athletics with Gage Jump. He has just started for 6 games now, but he has a 2.04 ERA. Very solid start. He was found in 2026 Bowman. So if you are looking for his cards, that's the only place you can find them. The NL East is just so slow hobby wise for them. We've got the Phillies, and there's really not much there either. Kyle Schwarber's leading the MLB with 29 home runs, but I don't get very excited for Kyle Schwarber. Not just because I'm a Mets fan. I think he's just, I don't know, hobby wise, he just doesn't do much for people. And let's move on to the Pittsburgh Pirates. I'm not going to talk about Paul Skeens. I'm going to talk about Connor Griffin. He has been so solid since his call up, but he's really not setting the world on fire. People have cooled him slightly, but he has been just fine. He obviously, in spring training, everything, everyone was all about Connor Griffin. He didn't get to start opening day, but he still got called up midseason. So, that kind of got washed out in the middle of the season a little bit. But he's been just fine. No complaints about him. I think he's doing what can be expected of him, even with the crazy hype around him. And I think he's just going to continue to get better. If you want Connor Griffin, buy him now because I think he's going to be a top 5 name in just a couple of years. Padres, another team with not much going for them. Fernando Tatis Jr., only name that I could think of because he has been such a big hobby name, but he's cooled down in recent years. If you are someone that's been looking to buy him, it might be a time to buy low. Hope that he can find his magic again another year. This year ain't it, but we'll see. For the San Francisco Giants, there is Bryce Eldridge. He is 21 years old, and he has really turned it up lately. He has an 874 OPS. It seems like he's been around for so long, but yeah, just 21, 874. You can't complain about that. And yeah, really the sky is the limit for him. I'm very excited for him as a player. I feel like he has slept on a bit. He is not really mentioned as much with those other rookies, but I think that's going to change really soon. For the Mariners, unfortunately, Bert, who's not here today, I'm going to talk about Cal Raleigh, and he's been probably the biggest disappointment this year. After such a historic year last year, everyone knew that it was going to be extremely difficult to come anywhere near those numbers. But what he's doing, batting average of 166, it's just so disappointing. Hopefully he can figure it out and get back to where he was. The prices are down for him. So if you're someone that PCs, catchers, Mariners, or just big dumpers, you can get them for cheaper than I think that you should be able to. I think that the truth is not quite what last year was, but it's definitely better than what he's doing this year. For the Cardinals, we have J.J. Weatherholt, and he's been starting since opening day. He has been their rookie. He's had a 775 OPS, so it's really solid, really respectable. But, nothing eye-popping about his numbers. He's just been super consistent. He's been able to show he belongs, but yeah, he's definitely a major league talent. Hobby-wise, I don't know if we're going to be talking about him like crazy in the next couple of years like I am excited about some of these other guys. For the Rays, we have what everyone constantly calls the most underrated and slept-on guy in the hobby, outside of, I would say, Jose Ramirez. He still holds that title. But let's talk about Junior Caminero, still overlooked. He's putting together a really strong season so far. 860 OPS. If he finishes that way, that's going to be a career high. So he's just getting better and better every year. Buy low while you can. Unless he just ends up being another Jose Ramirez and you'll always be able to buy low. But at the end of his career, when all is said and done, I think we're going to be talking about a really solid ball player. Texas Rangers, really not much there, but there is one guy that I keep going back to, Wyatt Langford, who's had, hold on. Let's see how. Wyatt Langford just hit his 5th home run in 7 days. Maybe it's finally all coming together for him. I hope so. I'm big into Langford. I've been hoping for him to do something. 5 home runs in 7 days, not half bad. And his other numbers, his advanced metrics have been off the charts good. So I'm really hoping he's finally putting it together. If he could be your last chance to finally buy. It could be your last chance to buy low on him. I'm definitely, this point, I'm all in on him. I'm not selling off. I want him to put together that great season. I think he's capable of it. I've been a little disillusioned lately, but this last 7 days, pretty damn good. For the Blue Jays, we have Trey Savage. He's finally back from injury, and he looks solid. He's not as dominant as he was in the postseason, but very few players can be that dominant. He still shows a lot of promise, though. 58 strikeouts in 60 innings. Hobby loves strikeouts, and that's what he's showing us. I think he'll continue to. Hopefully, he can do another crazy postseason run and just continue to drive his hobby numbers up. The last team to talk about is the Washington Nationals, and we've talked about him quite a bit here, too. James Wood. He is still underpriced. I don't think for much longer, though. He is having such a solid season. He's leading the league in walks and runs. His OPS over 900, and he's improving over such a solid rookie season. I am excited to see where he can go. Except as a Mets fan, there I'm not really excited. But as a hobby holder of James Wood, I'm excited to see where he can go. All right, that about does it today for the Talking Cards podcast. Definitely check us out on all your socials or whatever you have: Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. We're on TikTok. We're also on Facebook now. We're always just posting little shorts and stuff, some things that you can find outside of the regular podcast stuff. Definitely check us out there. This is the Talking Cards podcast with just the Jewce today. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. Have a good day.